שלום פול, מה שלומך? אני בסדר, תודה. ואת? טוב מאוד. מי זה? זה חבר שלי. קוראים לו טוני. הוא מלונדון. שלום טוני. נעים להכיר אותך? נעים להכיר גם אותך? נתראה מאוחר יותר. נתראה מאוחר יותר.
Welcome to today's Hebrew lesson. Today we're looking at a conversation between Daniela and Paul, and also Tony later on joining, in which we are looking at questions regarding how things are going in the first few sentences, but also asking who a certain person is. So who is that? If you're seeing somebody accompanying your friends, then you might ask, who is that? And then get introduced and ask for their names and stating that it's nice to meet you. So it's a typical introductory situation in which people are introduced to one another and what to say in Hebrew. Okay, so let's dive into the first sentence. Daniela says, Shalom Paul. Ma shlomcha. Let's blow this up a bit. So Daniela says, Shalom Paul, ma shlomcha. Okay, so shalom, as we know, literally means peace. But of course it means hi or hello. So hello Paul. Ma shlomcha. Ma means what? Shlomcha, the ending cha, indicates your, in the sense of you, or you, the person you being addressed is a male person, a man. So shlom, the short form of shalom, means peace. Your, and the your is the masculine singular form of you, basically, in Hebrew. So this is important. Hebrew is characterized by pretty much dividing, with a couple of exceptions like ani and anachnu, we, dividing everything into the masculine and the feminine form. So you basically need to know the two verb forms. That's the specialty in the Hebrew language. But there are other things that are a lot more easier than in other languages. So Hebrew is not a particularly difficult language to learn, other than the vowel sounds, which are not always transcribed. So you have to know how the words basically are written, or get a feeling for it at least, so you can spell the words correctly. But in my opinion, this is, at least for us, it's secondary. For us, it's more important to be able to speak and communicate correctly. So that is our first goal, and we're going to achieve it by looking at the sentences, dissecting them, understanding how the language works, and putting them back together and forming our own sentences and practicing, so these things become more automatic as we are learning the language. So, Shalom Paul, ma shlomcha, what is your peace? Meaning, how are you doing? Okay? Important, the cha indicates your, in the sense of your masculine singular, talking to one male person. So what does Paul respond? He answers, Ani beseder toda. Ani, we saw ani before. Ani means I, and beseder means all right, or okay. Toda means thanks or thank you. Ve'at, ve means and at means you, but we also learned that there are also two forms for you. It is ata when talking to a male person and at when talking to a female person. So in this case, we will write you feminine singular. Why singular? Because we're talking to one person, to one female person. This is why it is going to be at. The at is here, and the you feminine singular is here. Beseder means okay or alright. And we'll hear this all the time in Israel or in Hebrew language movies. So beseder, okay. So it's a very, very common word you will hear all the time. So very, very common. So this is also the way you respond to a question like Ma shlomcha. You say ani beseder, toda, ve'at. And then Daniela answers with tov me'od. Tov me'od means tov. If you saw the first lesson, boker tov means good morning. So boker was the morning, and tov means good. So tov means good, and me'od means very. Mi ze. Mi means who, and ze means that. Who is that? Remember, we don't have a present tense form of verb forms of to be, so we always ask who that. Or if we want to say I'm a student, we say ani student, I student. And in this case, we also say mi ze, who is that? One important remark, if you watched the previous lesson, mi also has another meaning. Mi also means from, if it's in conjunction with a word indicating a city or a country. Where are you from? I'm from, we saw the example, I'm from Europe. Or you're from Buenos Aires, ani mi Buenos Aires. But in this case, you only write the M sound. Me Buenos Aires, the me, and then you keep going with the B sound, B for Buenos Aires. In this case, mi stands by itself, and it means who. And as you can see, it is written with the E sound, with the Yod. Mem and Yod, mi. M-E is me. And if it's written as a separate word, it means who. And ze, you write, in Hebrew we write ze, sein, ze, and H at the end. So we write ZH, we don't write the E sound, the S sound. But the thing is, the way you pronounce it is ze. You don't say ze, you say ze. So it's a silent H. You write the H at the end, but you don't pronounce the H. You just say ze. Mi ze. Who is that? And then the answer is ze chaver sheli. So ze, the Zayin and the H is ze, but the H is silent, so you say ze. Okay, ze chaver sheli. Okay, as you can see here, this is the ch sound. Okay, and we only have 3 letters here, so it's the ch sound, it's the v, this one, it's this, and this is the resh, the r. So we have ch, v, and r, and we don't pronounce the a, or no, sorry, we don't write the a, and we don't write the e sound. So these are basically not written. We only have 3 letters, ch, v, and r, but we read it as chaver, which means friend. So ze means this, and we don't have an is because it's the present form of to be. We don't have a present form of to be in Hebrew. So this a, and we don't say a friend, we just say friend. So this friend, and now we have a new form here. It's sheli. Shel. Shel means of, belonging to somebody, of. And the I sound at the end here, the yod, and the e means me. So sheli means of me. So in English we would say this is a friend of mine. Okay? Ze chaver sheli. Okay, so our first sheli form, our first form of indicating belonging. You can also say, for example, you can use any other form here. For example, you can say mechonit, car. This is my car. You can say ze mechonit sheli, which means this is a car. This is one of my cars. It's a car of me. It's a car of belonging to me. Ze mechonit sheli. If you want to say it's my car, it's the specific car that I own. Ze ha the definite article we saw in the last lesson. Ha mechonit sheli. Ze ha mechonit sheli. This is my car. Okay, maybe I can write that down. So ze mechonit sheli means this is the a is not translated in Hebrew, car of me. So it means basically it's one of my cars. And ze ha mechonit sheli means this is the car of me, meaning it is my car. I only have one, it's my car. This is my car. Ze ha mechonit sheli. Okay? Alright, so then we keep going with korim lotoni. So, korim means they call. Korim lo, and lo means him. Tony. Okay, so korim means they call, lo means him, and Tony means Tony. Who? He. Me, we saw that in the last lesson, from London. And don't confuse this me with the me meaning who. Okay? Because this me is only written with a mem. I'll put this in a different color. This me is only written with a mem sound, not with an e sound, and it's written in one word with London. So in this case, it's basically it's a preposition, if you want to put it this way, because it precedes the word London. So me London, from London. Who mi London. Very important. This does not mean who, it means from. It's one word with London, so he is from London. Okay, and also important, korim, they call. So if you want to ask somebody, what's your name? Ech korim lecha. We saw this in the first lesson. Or ech korim lo Tony. Okay, ech means how. Ech korim lo. How they call him. And the answer is korim lo whatever, Tony for example. They call him Tony. Who mi London, he is from London, and as we know there is no present form of the verb to be, so there is no translation for he is. Just omitted, no form, so you just say he from London. Good. And then Daniela greets Tony. She says, Shalom Tony. Na'im lehakir otcha. If you watched the first lesson, once you watch it, you will also see this form here. It's a very common form, of course. And yeah, shalom, we know shalom means hi or hello. And na'im lehakir otcha. Na'im, well, let's put it, hi Tony. And then na'im means pleasant or nice. Lehakir means to get to know. Otcha means you. And the otcha here is the direct object. I will explain to you in a second what a direct object is in case you don't know. So this you here indicates a direct object, and in the cha form is the masculine singular form. Why? Because Daniela is talking to Tony, and Tony is a man. So she needs to say otcha. Okay, if she was talking to a female person, to one person at least, she would say otach. Good, so what is a direct object? Direct object is the object that the verb is acting on. For example, I see you. Yeah, it's a very, very easy sentence. It means, and this I here in front is the so-called subject. The see is the verb. And in this case, the you is the object. Okay, so what does this mean? The verb see is acting on the object. So the object is the let's say in this case the person or the thing that is being seen. So what is an indirect object? An indirect object is the recipient of the direct object. For example, I give the book to him. Then in this case, the object that the verb is directly acting on is the book, because the book is the object of being given. Okay, so the book is the direct object. If we follow the definition of up here, and the recipient of the book is him. So the him is the indirect object. And in this case, the verb is to get to know, and the question is who is being gotten to know? Well, it's you in this case, or him or her. So this is a direct object. So we don't have an indirect object in this sentence. Okay, it's only a direct object. Okay, so next, and Tony answers, Naim lehakir gam otach. And as I mentioned before, now the direct object pronoun changes to otach. Before it was otcha. Why? Because the person being addressed here is masculine. And in this case, it is feminine because Tony is talking to Daniela. See? So in this case, it means pleasant to get to know. Gam means also. And you, the otach form, is now the direct object form of feminine singular, of one female person being talked to. Yeah. Once you understand this better and you work with these forms, you will get a feeling for this and you won't have to think about it anymore. It's just in the beginning, it might be a bit confusing because in English we have the same word, you being a subject, being an object. So sometimes this may confuse people. But once you differentiate the sentence, for example, saying he or him, then things become more transparent because he is the subject form and the him is the object form. So in this case, it's a little easier to differentiate between the subject form he or she and her. Have different forms in whether they be subject or object. But you in English is like it's one form for everything, so it makes things a little bit harder. Good. And then, yeah, what does everybody say now? So Daniela says, Nitra'e me'uchar yoter, and Paul and Tony answer her with the same phrase. What does this phrase mean? It means we will meet later. So Nitra'e means we will meet. Me'uchar means late. And yoter literally means more, or if in conjunction with the me'uchar or with another adjective, it's a superlative form, late, later. So you say me'uchar yoter, meaning more late or later. So we will meet later means Nitra'e me'uchar yoter, we'll meet later, meaning see you later. Okay, so if you have any questions or comments on this video regarding the contents, the forms, the verb forms, whatever it may be, any vocab, grammar question, please drop us an email at info@online-university.education. That's info@online-university.education. and we'll be happy to hear from you. And if it's a question specifically related to the contents, the grammar, whatever it may be, we will of course gladly make a video out of it and and show people how this works and have other people who are also interested in this topic participate. And so please practice, repeat this video at least. I would recommend 10 times, because this way you will hear the content, the phrases over and over, and things will become easier as you repeat them, as you hear them again. Also, the explanations become more ingrained in your brain. You just have to repeat it then, practice it, try to have a conversation with a friend of yours, and then this way you will slowly but surely ingrain these new forms into your memory and be able to speak and use these forms as we go along. So I wish you all the best, Lietraut, and I'll see you next time.